Welcome to TMZ Live, Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
So I'm going to say something that I know he doesn't agree with because we've been arguing all morning. But I think the prosecutors in the Chris Brown case in the UK are in Diddy territory. And I say it because
Not because Chris Brown is being accused of anything like Diddy was.
No, exactly.
Right.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is they have charged him already with assault. And I get it because he allegedly causing great bodily
grievous harm.
Grievous harm. Yeah. Okay, and I get it. That's what he's accused of, hitting somebody over the head with a big tequila bottle. I get it.
Right.
In a bar. Now they've added 2 more charges, including the charge of using an offensive weapon in a public place.
Yes.
The offensive weapon
is the tequila bottle.
How is a tequila bottle an offensive weapon in a bar? I get it was used as such.
If someone wants to hand me a bottle, I'll show you. I'll gladly show you how it is an offensive weapon. Do you know what a bottle of Don Julio 1492 looks like?
I understand it. Yes, it's a big bottle.
Is it 1492?
Guys, my point.
1942.
My point is
1492 is a long way back.
A car is a deadly weapon. You can charge somebody if they hit you with the car intentionally with assault with a deadly weapon. You can charge them with a baseball bat. But if you go to Dodger Stadium, the baseball bat is not an offensive weapon. It is not an offensive weapon.
Let's get to it. So Chris Brown was in court today in the UK because of these 2 new charges that he's now facing, and he had to enter a plea. He entered not guilty, just as he did a few weeks ago to the first charge. Look, I don't know why the prosecutors added these 2 charges. They are lesser charges, but they have added them, and he had to officially show up. He's got to show up for every court date. Otherwise, he's got $6.7 million. Which is another point that they're holding for him.
Here's the point I'm trying to make. I think one of the reasons Diddy won his case, and he did win. Forget the Mann Act. That's right. He won his case. One of the reasons is he was overcharged. That racketeering did not make any sense. And it felt like they were going after this guy because of what they didn't like in his bedroom. And in this case, look at what they're doing to Chris Brown. They held him without bail for an assault case without bail. That's what you do with murder. So they held him without bail. Then they finally give him bail for $6.8 million for an assault case. And now they add this offensive weapon. What I'm saying is a judge or maybe a jury may look at this and say, they're just going after this guy.
Harvey, I agree with you entirely on this thing. I don't even understand this use of an offensive weapon charge when that already seems baked into the assault charge.
Right.
We have an assault charge. You obviously assaulting with the tequila bottle. Now with this extra charge that's with an offensive weapon, anything can be an offensive weapon. So this charge seems to be available in every assault.
I'm sorry, counselors. Exactly how much law have the 2 of you combined practice in the UK?
We know common law. We know.
No. I don't want to. Don't tell me about this common law nonsense.
I've never practiced.
Don't tell me this common law nonsense.
Charles, you're about to be embarrassed. You're about to be embarrassed.
No, I'm not. I ask a question.
Well, you don't understand.
How am I going to be embarrassed?
Okay,
you're going to be embarrassed.
I know you have zero. Jason.
I once spent 3 days practicing law in the UK. 3 whole days.
Okay, and guess what?
Thank you for the answer. That's all I want to know.
And here's here's what we know: that we learned common law. Common law comes from England. So our system is based on the common law system of England. Right. So yes, we know a lot.
And I learned more in that 3 days than anybody else.
No, wait, Jason, were you actually in a court or were you just
I was doing a document review in somebody's office, but it was.
And by the way, if we're going to get down to it, when I was teaching law school, I once wore a white wig when I was teaching the rule against perpetuity.
Yeah, but you weren't teaching at the time, so it's different.
Ariana McClain, West Memphis, Arkansas. And I'd like to say that I think this is a big reach. I think Chris Brown has a past that reflects that he may have been someone who assaulted someone in the past. So they're adding things on. He paid almost $7 million to get out of jail. So they know that adding these charges may possibly lead to him having to pay more money. And I think that's the big goal here. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, but you can't punish him. You can't punish him for what he's done in the past. You punish him for what he's done now. You can't say he's such a bad guy. Let's just heap on a bunch of stuff.
I don't know that a UK court would do that. Is it possible a US court might do that?
Well, I will say they did it with O.J. Simpson with the kidnapping
I was
case.
about, exactly.
They did. Okay, we got to move on.
Yes, to Justin Bieber's big premiere, big debut of his Swag album. Came out at midnight, and I don't know, critics, at least in this room, seem a little mixed on the sound. But what is very clear is that Justin is getting a lot of things, personal things, off his chest on this album, including some conversations or songs about, they play like conversations, songs about his marriage to Haley, which, you know, for months now, people have speculated that they are on the rocks, perhaps they're gonna break up, and then other times Justin is posting things that are very loving about her. It's clear there have been some issues when you listen to this song. This is one of the songs on the album, Walking Away. Well, look at the title.
With the title itself.
Yeah.
But listen to this.
We've been testing our patience. I think we better off if we just take a breath. Baby, I ain't walking away. You are my diamond. Gave you a ring. Made you a promise. I told you I'd change.
I got to say something. I mean, aside from the fact that it is revealing, I love that song. I think I love the way it sounds.
I like the sound, but the fact that I like it is why I think I've heard some people in the office go, they're not really.
But can I tell you what I've heard?
Sound.
I made some calls and I
Sounds
talked
kind of like 80s, mid 80s
like R&B.
Yeah.
I talked to some people today in the music business not too long ago, like a half hour ago on the phone, and it's really interesting because there are some producers who are trashing him, saying, "Oh, it's terrible, it's this and that," and I've talked to other producers. And they're saying, this is Justin Bieber finally breaking out of that mold where people hand him a song and say, record this, because if a demo sounds like a hit, he can make it sound better than anybody. And he was just recording everybody else's songs. And this is the first time he's been able to do his own thing. And I was wondering, is this going to be any good if that's what they're saying? But I love that.
Yeah, a lot of people online, actually, like the Beliebers, are obsessed. It's obviously a different sound, very R&B, like you guys mentioned. People are saying that, you know, even he changed his voice a little bit. It's a little bit more raspy, got experimental with that. But he got extremely personal in this album. Like you mentioned, Harvey, he really poured his guts into this thing. You can tell by him using some of the paparazzi interactions that he had over the past couple months. He included some of those moments into his music. He even had one track where it's not even music, it's literally a therapy session that he had with Drewski, an internet personality, where he's just talking about how, you know, people are always telling him what's wrong with you, what's wrong with you. And at a point he's like, is there something wrong with me? Like, I don't feel like there is, you know, so it's very personal, touches on everything that people have been talking about regarding him, being worried about him, marriage troubles with Haley. But overall, I mean, I listened to the full album this morning. I thought it was amazing.
From what I heard, it's really good. I got to say, what Charlie was just talking about with the therapy session. So one part was so impactful, and he's talking about the fact that everybody is asking, because we actually did this in our documentary on Justin, but he talks about just when he lashed out at people saying, stop asking if I'm okay, it drives me crazy. It's like he says in this that when people ask him that, he assumes he is different and suffering more than the other people are.
They must have it all worked out.
They must have it all worked out.
So I'm the problem.
But I think what he's saying is, you guys haven't figured it out either. So don't start asking me like this is on me. This is on everybody. And I thought that was really evolved.
Jason, Fresno, California. What's not clocking with you is Justin still on business with this album. The new raw and stripped back sound, I feel like really complements his vulnerability and artistry. Personally, I think it's his best album by far, and I love the collaborators he chose to work with.
Probably not going to debut #1 because Travis Scott has something coming which is going to be massive. Morgan Wallen has still an album that is just doing gangbusters.
Sounds like you were talking to Eric this morning.
I was talking to somebody else, actually. I was actually talking to somebody else.
By the way, the track I really want to hear is 405. because everyone in LA can relate.
Oh, that one's a jam. That one's a jam,
Oh, yeah?
Charles.
Is
Is that that's about the freeway?
Yeah, it's about the freeway, like being in a car with a girl and like, you know, love on like the 405.
Nobody's happy in the 405. Okay.
Well, in that situation, sounds like there's a better way to deal with traffic.
We are going to take a break.
When we come back, Jeffrey Epstein is tearing MAGA apart. Report of a huge blowout at the White House between Pam Bondi, the AG, and the Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino. And one of them might not be coming back to work. We're going to be joined by Axios reporter Mark Caputo when we come back. We've always suspected this, that the White House, and we know this, that what happens in the White House is really probably just as good as any Real Housewives episode, as any soap opera. But
Especially now.
But when we get to find out what was happening in the White House, that is chef's kiss. And the latest blow up at the White House is reportedly over the Jeffrey Epstein files, or the lack thereof, or lack of information in the Epstein files, as the Department of Justice announced earlier this week. And the blow up comes from between Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, and Kash Patel, the FBI Director, and the Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino. There was a meeting where they were all discussing some things that have come out about in the way that the Epstein case has been rolled out to the public.
And Olivia Pope was there.
You know what? She's the only person who is missing from this meeting. It is a fascinating meeting, and now there are people who think that Dan Bongino might be quitting. He did not show up for work on Friday, so whether or not he's coming back remains to be seen.
So Axios broke this story.
Yes.
That there was this blow up at this meeting, and it really does give you a little window to look inside and figure out who's saying what about the Epstein case.
So joining us right now is the man who broke that story, Mark Caputo from Axios. Welcome back to TMZ Live, Mark. How you doing?
Oh, great. Thanks.
So first of all, congratulations on the story. I am fascinated by this because Patel and Bongino were leading the conspiracy theories about Epstein's death and whether there was a client list. And now it just kind of...
Before they were in office.
Before they were in office. And I never thought they would do a flip. But reading your story, it sounds like they almost have, and they're on board with the notion that it was suicide and there's no list.
Well, very much so. The Department of Justice, with the sign-off of the FBI, released a statement and a memo. Axios first reported it, saying there was no client list and there was no suicide of Jeffrey Epstein. And Bongino and Patel himself both acknowledged, accepted, advanced that belief. They've even said it on television. So it is fair to say that their statements or their stated beliefs have gone 180 from the more conspiratorial side of things to the more official side of things, which is, yeah, there's bad stuff happened here. But again, the official position is no suicide, no client list.
So take us into the White House for this meeting, Mark, which happened on Wednesday. Was it before or after? Was the cabinet meeting on Wednesday morning?
I guess it is after the cabinet meeting.
Right,
I must admit, I hadn't put that math together.
Right, the cabinet meeting where Pam Bondi was asked by a reporter about the Epstein files,
And then
President Trump jumped in and how dare you ask, and then she gave the answers she did. And I guess after that, then this meeting happens. Tell us who was there and what it was about.
So Bongino and Kash Patel went into this meeting with Pam Bondi there. I believe it was Bondi who called or had it called Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, and Taylor Budowich, who is the deputy chief of staff. And it was a real heated meeting. And Bongino at one point was accused of leaking or causing to be leaked a story in News Nation that said that he and Kash Patel had wanted to release this evidence sooner, but it just didn't happen. Bongino denied it, to be clear. And then the subject came up of this issue of the video of the cell or the outside of the cell of Epstein's. This was released as a way for the Department of Justice to prove that there was no murder. because it shows no one is going inside of Epstein's cell at the time where he, according to authorities, committed suicide. The problem is this is 10 hours of video, but there's a, quote, missing minute there. And no one caught the fact that there is 60 seconds of this 10-hour period that are gone. And when that video hit the internet and internet sleuths started to look at it, yes, there are some people who spent 10 hours of time watching surveillance video of essentially nothing happening. It blew up and there was tension over it. And the people who were critical of Bongino said, look, you were in charge of this. You were the one who unearthed this video. You brought it to the Justice Department. You said you vouched for it. You reviewed it. How come the 60 seconds is missing? By the way, there is a technical explanation of it. I can bore you with it if you want. But safe to say, the meeting didn't go well. Bongino eventually wound up leaving, not on good terms, and continued to stew about it. On Friday morning, we were told he might resign. Now, we were then told he's not resigning, but he's not at work today. And we'll have to see if he ultimately shows up for work going forward.
I'm confused because you said that he now believes there was no murder and there is no list. But as for the murder, are you saying that Bongino was blindsided, didn't know about the 1 minute that was missing? And if there really is a minute missing, is he back on the conspiracy theory?
I don't believe he's back on the conspiracy theory. I haven't heard that. And obviously, if you're going to go murder someone in a minute, I've never murdered anyone. Maybe I guess you could do it, but that is a very small period of time in which to hang them. I'm not quite sure. But be that as it may, the reality is, yes, there's a lot of suspicious things about Epstein's death. He was on suicide watch, and yet somehow he wound up committing suicide, according to authorities. So, yeah. However, we have not heard, nor has Bongino stated or implied in any way, shape, or form that he believes that there was a murder. Apparently, he still believes, Kash Patel believes, all the official authorities believe that this was a suicide.
And he's pissed off because he thinks Pam Bondi mishandled it.
Correct. What happened with Bondi is early on in the administration, Bondi said, I've got the Epstein client list. These aren't her direct words, but responding to a question about Epstein's client list, she says, I have it on my desk. She said, and she was going to review it, and then she was going to release everything. Well, it turns out, according to them, there's no client list. So it appears, the best we can tell, that Bondi had believed that these things existed, and rather than sort of ascertain the facts ahead of time, shot out of the cannon, made these statements, and then it's sort of clean up on aisle MAGA that's continuing to go on.
Right. So you got to imagine that for Dan Bongino and for Kash Patel, that there are people in their world who are coming after them, right? They're probably getting a lot of heat from the people that they used to when they were just doing podcasts and they weren't actually running the FBI, who are saying, what gives, guys? We talked about this for years, and now it seems like you just abandoned us. So I'm imagining that's the heat that they're feeling, which is leading to this battle at the White House.
Well, yeah, to quote John F. Kennedy, I think, who said that those who ride the tiger often end up inside it. And once you start kind of going down this route, you might have to commit to the bit. Now, I'm not going to comment, or I don't know whether they had these sincere beliefs ahead of time or whether they were just sort of manipulating people. I can't speak to that. I don't have all the facts. I haven't ascertained that. I haven't interviewed them about that. But what we can say is that they made all of these statements as podcast guys and as influencers and as people who had no real authority and had no real responsibility to speak responsibly. Once they got in the FBI, things changed. So bottom line is this. It's a lot easier to podcast and post and say whatever comes into your head than it is to actually govern or work as a sworn law enforcement agent in the FBI.
Well, the other way, look, the other way of looking at that is that when you get into the Trump administration, you better get on board or you're booted. So we're not sure.
Well, it's every administration. I mean, right?
Well, that's true.
That's true.
But real quick, last thing. There's not a list, but Epstein was a guy who loved being around famous, powerful people, and there were a lot of them who cavorted with him in various ways.
Yep.
May not be a list, but
not a client list.
Not a client list, but everything I've seen with the government, with UFOs, with the Kennedy assassination, is we just can't assume they're being transparent. And maybe they're in that file that it may not be a list, a proper list, but there are probably names.
To your point, on Sunday or over the weekend, I did a story about we are still getting documents in the JFK assassination.
Right.
And we're still learning things about people who were involved in CIA operations who contacted, or better said, had contact and were monitoring Lee Harvey Oswald before the assassination,
Right.
lied about it and covered up about it. And we're only finding that stuff out now thanks to the Trump administration. But the lesson that it has in the JFK files, which is release everything to prevent the conspiracy theories and to help everyone understand something or understand this, they're not completely honoring or following through with the Epstein case. The government has consistently sort of botched the handling of the information, the prosecution, and then the post-death release of all of the documentation that we have about him. And when you have vacuums of information, conspiracy theories fill it pretty fast.
Okay, I'm going to get the last word. There was a conspiracy to kill JFK. It was covered up. The Warren Commission was a sham, and we still don't know. So there. And I've looked at this since I was 16 years old. Okay.
He has lived it,
come
Mark.
back and talk about JFK whenever you get a chance.
I would love to do that with you.
Yeah, next time we have like 2 or 3 minutes. That's all it'll take.
Mark, it's such. We
Thanks, Mark.
really love having you on. Thank you.
All right, fellas, thanks.
Okay.
Wow.
We are going to take a break.
When we come back, we're going to shift gears a little bit. The Love Island. Yes, we're going from that to Love Island. The finale.
Well, that was kind of,
Yeah, the Love Island finale is coming up this weekend. And what kind of future do the contestants have? Not everyone's going to win, obviously, but will they actually be able to make money? Will they have lasting careers after this? We're going to follow the money with our buddy Damon John when we come back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall.
It's TMZ.
Love Island Season 7, the finale coming up this weekend. And there is a lot on the line. And I'm not talking about who ends up winning. I don't even know. What do you win on Love Island when you win?
I think $100,000.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guess what? Even if you don't win, you could have a very lucrative career ahead of you because of the popularity of these contestants on social media. And they gain followers by the thousands, tens of thousands in some cases, while they're on this show. And that means you can turn that into actual cash and possibly...
You sound like a commercial.
A career.
You can turn that into cash.
Now how much would you pay? But there are also risks when you go on this that could maybe damage your ability to make money at all when the show is over, depending on what happens to you. So we're going to follow the money because there is a lot of it out there for these contestants. And that means we're bringing in our buddy Damon John from Shark Tank, who is... at a conference. What have we got there? The National Conference on School Leadership.
Yeah, this is the 2025 United Conference, and this is where a bunch of school professionals and leaders get together who are taking care of our children, and they're holding the doors open. Look. They're holding it open for me for all of our Follow the Money people.
Oh, wow.
I mean, let them in. I don't know. Let them watch.
You know, this is just such a good example where it doesn't matter how you're portrayed in a way. You just become so famous off a huge hit show that there are advertisers that just know that people are going to love them and love to hate them, and they're going to be marketable.
Yes, that is true. I mean, think about it. Reality shows are now, at the end of the day, when everybody has a phone, what is really the new currency? Attention is the new currency. This is not 20 years ago when you needed a show and then hopefully a network would give you a talk show or something like that. You now are your own brand, and you have, whether it's YouTube or whether it's TikTok or whether it's, whatnot selling live, you're very, very bankable. And we know the people who've done really well. Me. You're looking at me. I've done really well becoming a star on a show. I write all the checks on Shark Tank so I can get ownership in companies outside of Shark Tank because they know that I am a living commercial.
Like Amaya is a great example. That Amaya is on the show. And there are people who don't like Amaya. Doesn't matter. That she's got enough people that do, that they're being told.
And even if you're a good villain, that can get you deals also.
She's getting offers.
Yeah.
And so, literally you check your DMs as soon as you are booted, and all of a sudden you say, I got a career. I mean, that's the way it's working.
I got to tell you something. If you're smart enough, you know you're going to be casted, right? You come up with your 2 to 5 words and your slogan or your logo. You lock that in before, and you just always have that statement. What? There was that one girl, wasn't she on a show and she said, cash me outside or something like that?
That was Danielle Bregoli. Danielle Bregoli, who's a multimillionaire now.
Yeah, what is the other one? The spit on something, Hawk 2.
Some problems there.
Yeah, there's some problems there.
There were some problems on that one.
But what I'm saying is, when I said it, we immediately recognized where it was said. So imagine if you had a show on every week for 16 weeks, hitting millions of people, and you locked in some of those names and those IPs. That'll work for the rest of your life if you do it smart.
There is the potential pitfall, though, Damon, like in the case of Sierra Ortega. Going on the show led to people bringing up these old social media posts where she now had to make this apology yesterday, a very effective one, I think, although I guess time will tell if it's effective. Does she have a career after this? Because this has been bad for her up to this point.
That is a very good point. Listen, it's just like when you come on Shark Tank. Think about the people who come on Shark Tank to get exposure, or sometimes if they don't want to close the deal, I'm going to expose them. So you have to really be in tune. Don't go on there and not realize they're going to open Pandora's box. You better get ready to own it, and that's the problem, right? You better own it, because they're going to come for you, and they're going to realize what you have said in the past or what you've done. So you can't do this. You're drinking Pepsi and you're really a Coke person. You can't do that, because it will hurt you just as much.
I got to say, we're out of time, but just real quick, you're speaking at a school leadership conference, and I would think one of the things you're going to be hit with is we can't really teach anymore, because all these people want to do is start their own brand.
Influencers.
Not going to go to college, not going to worry about training. They're just going to do what you see on Love Island, and everybody thinks they're going to make millions of bucks.
That is true. A lot of people are going to take the shortcut, but that's the beauty in teachers. The beauty in teachers is not only the education, but the beauty in teachers is how they teach kids to dream, and how they teach kids that if they add the skill set to it, you can be successful. There are always going to be the A's and the B's, the ones who want shortcuts. But, at the end of the day, when you fail at shortcuts, you'll turn around and look at what that great educator and that teacher taught you early in life. You know what? Mrs. So forth believed in me, and I'm going to go back to the fundamentals that she taught me, because kids still have an ability to make a difference. I just hate adults. They don't listen. Kids, we can still hope that there's a future, and they'll come back to it and go, I've done wrong. Let me do better now because of that teacher.
Well,
and thank you for the 2025.
Go talk to the people, Damon. Talk to those teachers. Have a great conference. Thanks for being with us. We'll talk to you next time, man.
See you, Damon.
You got it. All right.
Okay, we are going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, Bad Bunny going out on tour, but a very unique tour, one that could change, I don't know how many, could change lives, could change an entire economy in his homeland. We'll explain when we come back. Welcome back to TMZ Live, and welcome back to the road. Bad Bunny going out on tour, and you know that Bad Bunny's tours are always a huge event, although this tour is different.
I will make an argument. I will make an argument that where he is, this will be as impactful as Taylor Swift.
I see your point, although it is slightly different. Of course, we all know the Eras Tour and what Taylor did around the world with that.
Bad Bunny, the economy everywhere she went.
Bad Bunny is aiming to do the same, but not on a global path.
He is zeroing in on his homeland, Puerto Rico.
He is starting tonight, actually, a 30-day run. Now, not consecutive.
It's almost like a residency.
It's like a residency, but he's going to be doing 30 days. In Puerto Rico, and only in Puerto Rico.
And this will boost the economy by around $350 million, much needed money in that country, in Puerto Rico, rather, in that territory. And it will create 8,000 jobs. So that's why I say it's Taylor-like.
I agree. I definitely agree. And it's clear that was his goal here.
Taylor did bigger numbers overall because she's Taylor Swift, but this really does speak to Bad Bunny's power as an artist, as a cultural ambassador, and I think it speaks to his character as a person. His most recent album, Debí Tirar Más Fotos, was a love letter to Puerto Rico, and it was all about the culture and the music and the people. And this is his way of giving back and celebrating that, and it's really good. That's why people love him.
So he is planning to do eventually a world tour, but interestingly is not going to have dates in the U.S., and I think that's intentional so that people in the U.S., if they want to see him, you got to fly down to Puerto Rico.
I'm not sure that's the reason, because he was asked, why is it you're not going to be in the U.S., which everybody does.
Right.
And his answer was, it wasn't necessary. And it wasn't that, hey, I wanted people from the U.S. to come to Puerto Rico.
Well, I think that's what he means. It's not necessary because my fans will come to Puerto Rico.
No, I think it has to do with Trump.
Xavier Custodio from Chicago. And I'm going to say what Bad Bunny is doing in Puerto Rico is something that's never been done as a Puerto Rican artist. And what locals are saying in Puerto Rico is that the atmosphere feels different. And Bad Bunny's music is everywhere, not just in San Juan, but all over the island as well.
Yeah. It's going to be quite the event, man.
He is something.
He is.
He is really something.
You know who else is something? Bella Thorne. Because she is speaking her mind about a fellow artist. And it's not kind what she has to say about Charlie Puth.
Not at all.
This is really strange to me because Charlie Puth has always struck me as one of those like nice guys in music that everybody either love him or they just don't think anything of him.
It's kind of the Sarah Lee of
never heard anybody say they hate him.
Right.
Well, that is changing now.
She does.
Because another artist, Jade, was on a podcast and asked about who she wouldn't want to work with. Here's what she had to say, and then we're going to explain how Bella Thorne jumped on this and just blew this wide open.
Which artist would you never collab with, and why? I think that's a nice, easy start.
Yeah, I feel like the fans already know someone I wouldn't collaborate with, which is Charlie Puth.
And we said it. I was going to say, I already knew that one.
Yeah.
So then,
that clip gets posted online.
So Bella then jumps on social media and posts this.
And this is her comment on that post. Yeah, I mean, he meaning Charlie, lied to the entire world about me and started a hate train, all because I wouldn't do the deed with him.
So here's what's behind that. I actually know what this is about. So
I'm shocked.
No,
this is normally where we throw it to someone younger in the newsroom who actually knows.
I know this. So Bella Thorne was dating Tyler Posey, okay? And according to her and other reports, Charlie Puth started talking trash on her, saying she was cheating on Tyler. What Bella is saying is that the reason he went after her was because Charlie wanted to date Bella, and Bella wasn't having it, wasn't interested in him, and said, we went
Well, wait, what was that photo? Because that seems like
She says it's a fake kissing photo. He made it look like
you really do have all the deets
He made it
here.
look like they were together. She says that was never a kissing photo. It was all kind of a fake photo.
Not that I don't trust your reporting.
I read this.
I'm just going to check with Alexa.
Am I right?
Check him on this.
For the photo in Miami, yeah, that was not romantic.
And the Tyler Posey thing?
Yeah, I mean, he apologized many times, saying that they never had a fling while they were dating.
But he made it look that way at a point.
Exactly.
Yes.
He just wanted to butt himself in, and he just needs to take a step back.
Well done. Hand him the Pulitzer.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amina from Cliffwood, New Jersey, and I actually, believe Bella. This makes Charlie seems like kind of a jerk, and he just needs to learn how to handle rejection, get it together. Learn how to, take a no.
Like you say, it is kind of shocking because I've never heard people go after him that way.
Wow.
Okay, now we're taking a break.
When we come back, Andy Roddick is lighting up the tennis world. He is really ticked about a tournament he saw go down, a tournament where a certain billionaire actually got on the court. This is a sanctioned tournament. The billionaire sucked, and Andy thinks...
Didn't suck. Sucked as a pro.
Yes, he's playing with pros.
Fair.
All right, you hear what Andy said when we come back. money can't buy you love, but it can buy you
a lot.
A pro, a spot in a pro tennis tournament, even when you yourself are not a pro. That is how Andy Roddick views what went down at a tournament in Rhode Island. This was the Tennis Hall of Fame.
Well, he more had an attitude than what you just said. He hates this.
Yes, he hates it. The billionaire who got the spot was Bill Ackman, who is very publicly a huge tennis fan, a supporter of the sport.
And financially, apparently.
Yes, financially supports it, sits on a board I think related to the ATP, but...
So this was kind of a fantasy match for him.
Right, so he played in this doubles tournament, and most people pointed out he just was...
He didn't have it.
Didn't have it.
And he lost in straight sets.
He's, by the way, on the right there in the all-white outfit. Now he's up at the net. Yeah, didn't do very well.
Yeah, they lost in straight sets. It only took 67 minutes, and a lot of people, Charles, were kind of disappointed with their opponents because their opponents are a very talented doubles team with won championships before, and a lot of people thought that they were taking it easy on Ackman's team.
Well, Andy Roddick thinks that this is a smear on the sport of tennis and admits that he likes Bill Ackman, but he hates what this has done for the sport.
This was the biggest joke I've ever watched in professional tennis. This match is going to be under review. It has to be.
Well, I mean, it's important to say it was a sanctioned match.
It's not a pro
ATP Tour Challenger.
It's a challenger.
Like this is for the purpose of the tour. This is an event that gives players an opportunity to get better and rise in the rankings.
No, rise, make a living.
And make a living.
There was exactly one person on that court trying as hard as they could. I don't blame him, right? Someone has to say yes to this. Someone has to say yes to this. It was rough.
So to be clear, he's saying Bill is the one who was playing really hard, but he's mad that someone said yes to him, allowing him to play.
Here's the argument on the other side. I don't know how much money this dude gave to professional tennis, but I'm assuming it's a lot. And if I'm right that he gave a lot of money, I mean, if somebody says, I'll give $1 million to charity if I can have dinner with Sofia Vergara.
Sure.
It's like she's going to do it because it's kind of a good thing.
Because it's good for a charity.
But this is
him paying into. He's paying into the thing that he is now.
He's benefiting from.
Yes,
but he paid.
That's different.
But if he paid a ton of money to support professional tennis,
I don't even know that's.
I mean,
so
are we really that upset about it?
He is on the board of something called the PTPA. It's the Professional Tennis Players Association, and people who are familiar say that he essentially funds that whole organization.
Okay. So suppose you have to endure a 60-minute match to give this guy a thrill, but he's given all this money. I get it.
But
I'm with you, Harv. I can't get worked up. But if this was like Wimbledon, fine. But this is a match nobody's ever heard of before. Who cares?
You're only thinking about the top 20 players who are going to be at the majors. But there are a bunch of other people who are trying to make a living.
Do you have a problem with Bronny?
What?
Do you have a problem with Bronny?
Bronny was actually drafted. That's fine.
Why?
That's on the team that drafted him. Talk to the Lakers.
Principle. It's the same
He's
principle.
An actual basketball player.
But was
that
he
was a good point, Harvey.
No, it's
that was
not.
a good point.
No,
I'm sitting here thinking, what would I say to that? I don't know.
Babcock, because Bronny is an actual. He played in college and would have been drafted.
Was he at the right level?
The question is whether he got drafted too soon. Yeah, that's fine. But Bill Ackman is not.
Principle.
No, it's not. Bill Ackman is a full amateur.
Life's not totally fair. We're going to
Oh, man. All right. When we come back, Casey Anthony's date up in New Hampshire. We now have all the details about who this guy is and how people feel about the fact that he is now, clearly, because she's still up there in New Hampshire, seemingly getting very comfortable. We'll show you where she went after their dinner date.
Buckle up, party people, because the TMZ After Dark Tour has hit Hollywood. Get ready for a 2-hour rager on wheels with the DJ dropping beats as we hit Sunset and Hollywood Boulevard, baby. We see the hottest restaurants, sickest clubs, and stop at banging bars along the way. The festivities kick off every weekend from the Hard Rock Cafe at 7:30 p.m. So head to TMZTour.com to book your tickets for the TMZ After Dark Tour. It's gonna be epic.
So we showed you Casey Anthony out on a date up in New Hampshire with a guy who we knew was a gun shop owner. We knew that he'd been interviewed by the New York Times.
Not about this.
Not about the date.
Before the election.
Just about the gun shop and the election. But we now have some more details about him. And by the way, it seems like Casey's settling in up in New Hampshire because she sure looked comfy going to was it TJ Maxx?
TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
With 2 bags of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
She's gonna be
she's
there a
at
while.
TJ Maxx, but she wasn't with this guy, Ben Bocheman. So we talked about him a little bit on the show yesterday. We've talked to some people close to him and are getting just a little more of his background. So he was actually an Army Ranger and a cop at one point. And according to one family source that we spoke to, apparently no one in the family had any idea that he was dating Casey Anthony until we posted these photos, and he immediately shut his Facebook down. And
God.
I can't imagine too many people in the family are very happy that he's linked.
Oh, you
with
can't
it.
assume that. You can't assume that. I mean,
mean,
every family is going to have mixed.
It's fascinating, though. It is a fascinating thing to think about.
Yeah.
That is.
We also talked to one other person, and they described their relationship as like a situationship. So
a lot of people do that.
Sounds to me like they're hooking up. I don't know how serious that really is.
So I got a question. If you were in The Price is Right and you had to guess just how much total she paid for the 2 bags, what would you guess?
Harvey.
I'm just curious.
I haven't set foot in a TJ Maxx. I don't know what the prices are there.
They're not as cheap, right?
I don't shop at TJ Maxx. What does she have in there?
It could be clothing. It could be
clothing,
anything.
it could be
TJ
all
Maxx, they got
sorts of
everything,
stuff.
man.
Don't lie. This is TJ Maxx and this is TJ Maxx.
Okay, first of all, I got this on vacation.
At a TJ Maxx.
And this is Lululemon. You cannot find that at TJ Maxx.
Oh, yes, you can. Yes, they've got great deals.
All right, cut them off.
Hey, this is Whitney from Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I still can't believe that we're giving Casey Anthony the more attention that she deserves, but at least she found a man with a killer sense of adventure, and he actually fits the role as the perfect partner in crime. But, now that she has a new accomplice, she's finding the perfect outfit at TJ Maxx.
Wow, you got a lot.
2 barbs in one sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, we're taking a break.
When we come back, not Barb's, but the Beehive.
Oh, right.
Probably celebrating a big change in Beyonce's concert.
She got back on the horse.
After that mishap with the car almost falling out of the sky, yes, she got back on the horse, and we'll show you. Well, the Beyonce Cowboy Carter tour rolls on after the mishap in Houston where the car cable started slipping and she is like, stop this. Wondering what was going to happen now. Would they
lowered it into 1,400 fans.
Yeah, very gently though. Well, she is now performing in Atlanta, and guess what? The car is out. Instead, got a shiny new horse.
Which also looks kind of perilous, I gotta say.
You know that the people who are behind this staging.
Oh yeah, they must have.
How nervous is the person operating this horse? Like,
I know.
Please go through.
But look how cool that is. The horse's legs move.
Yeah, this looks better to
I
me
think it
than
looks
the car.
way better. That is
and
awesome.
she's doing it during 16 carriages.
This was an improvement. That's really
See,
awesome.
sometimes when something bad happens, you turn it into something really good.
Wow, you should make fortune cookies.
Or Hallmark cards.
Have a good weekend, and we will see you Monday.